Namaskar and hello. This is Adwait Ainapure welcoming you to The English Shelf, a new series from Pustak Vachan, brought to you by Suvita Multimedia. Pustak Vachan means book reading in Marathi. We are delighted to present part 1 of Soil to Summit, a teacher's relentless journey, the inspiring autobiography of Shri Madhavrao Ekale, a man who rose from humble beginnings to leave a remarkable mark in the field of education. This is translated into English from his Marathi work, Thav Antarangacha. Thank you for joining us, and if you enjoy this journey, please subscribe to our channel. Here is part 1. We come from Ekale, a small village on the Andhra Karnataka border in Zahirabad district, which gives us our name Ekale. We are one of the original families there. Ekale is hard to find on a map, but it is near the sacred Sangameshwar, our family deity. In that region, you rarely hear Marathi spoken. Ekale has a rich history, once a part of the old Bidar kingdom. In the 1400s, Sultan Muhammad Shah Bahmani made Bidar his capital. Later, the Bahmani Empire split into smaller kingdoms like Adilshahi and Baridshai, with Bidar shining under the latter. Those times were chaotic. Rulers changed, laws would be changed too, but the farmers always paid heavy taxes, sometimes multiple times a year. They toiled to grow crops only for the rulers to take them away. Droughts made it worse, leaving fields barren and people helpless with hardship as their constant companion. Yet, this was also the era of Damaji Pant, a kind and devout man served as Mangalveda's Tahsildar under Bidar's king. He loved Lord Vittal deeply. During a brutal 2-year drought, when water and food were scarce, people begged him for grain. The government granaries were full, but Damaji, a loyal servant, needed the king's permission to distribute the grain. He sent pleas, but the king ignored them. His subordinates, fearing punishment, stayed silent. Unable to watch people suffer, Damaji sought guidance from Vittal, opened the granaries, and fed the hungry. But one colleague betrayed him, writing to the king with exaggerated claims of loss. The king, who ignored Damaji's requests earlier, quickly ordered his arrest. Before soldiers could act, a man named Vittu paid a huge sum to cover the grain's value, leaving the king puzzled. After this, Damaji devoted his life to serving Pandurang. Those were tough times. Famine and oppression forced people to move constantly, seeking better lives. Our ancestors likely did the same, leaving Ekale to settle in Monavati, now called Mukhed, a town by the Monavati river. On its eastern side stands the ancient Dasharatheshwar temple tied to the legend of King Dasharath, who built a shivling to atone for killing Shravan Bal. Near the temple was a dense forest where newcomers cleared land to build homes. That is where the Veerabhadra temple now stands. They say a wild cow once offered milk to its idol. Back then, devotees walked through the jungle, drumming as they visited. Mohanavati stretched along both river banks, and even today, digging in the western part reveals traces of old homes. My ancestors built a modest house near the Veerabhadra temple using just white clay and stones. That house stood through my grandfather's time, and I lived there as a child. A simple stone wall surrounded it, with the entrance on the north and a stone courtyard opening to the south facing the temple's deep mad. Back then, life revolved around farming to survive. But even when crops thrived, farmers lived in fear. They toiled to grow grain only for thieves or raiders to steal it. The soil was not great and droughts were frequent. Slowly, many turned to daily labor for a living. The king paid little attention to the village struggles. Over time, things began to change. More people settled in Monavati and the area around the Veerabhadra temple transformed. A proper temple rose around the idol and homes sprouted nearby. Beyond farming, Other trades grew. People's needs were simple back then, but essentials like zoar, bajra, wheat, turmeric, salt, chilies, oil, coarse cloth, and farm tools became available in Monavati's market. Word spread and folks from nearby villages started coming to shop. Over time, Monavati became known as the main village, likely evolving into Mukhed, the name we know today. As a child, I saw the market's unique way of trade, barter system. Goods were swapped based on mutual agreement, no money involved. I bought and sold things this way myself, but gradually a merchant class emerged and cash started replacing barter. With money came new ways of doing business. Poor farmers and laborers began pawning goods to moneylenders for cash, giving rise to a wealthy class. These folks built sturdy stone houses, marking their status. The village began to change, with neighborhoods forming based on caste or trade. Monavati, once called Bhagyanagar, became Mukhed, while Hyderabad took its name under the Nizam's rule. Nearby villages like Narnari, tied to the Deshpande family, and Petwadaj, their Jagir, grew connected to Mukhed as it expanded. Mukhed's trade was long linked to Kandahar, the taluka center. People travelled on foot, later using bullock or horse carts. Our house, far from the village's caste-based layout, stood apart. But as the Veerabhadra temple grew, the area became lively and popular for its serene vibes. Around that time, I recall a Parsi gentleman starting a cotton ginning factory in the village. Shops started coming up nearby, and despite limited transport, Mukhed became a trade hub. Goods reached places like Solapur, Barshi, Nanded, Umri, and Dharmabad. The need for carts created jobs. Drivers earned fares, and others found side work. Farmers grew more cotton, and Mukhed buzzed with progress. The factory brought the Nizam's rupee as the standard currency. Crops diversified. Tur, moong, urad, jowar, and groundnuts filled the market. These changes took root in my grandfather's time. Another shift stood out. Government jobs like Patwari or Police Patil became prestigious, earning respect.